Well, good evening, YouTube, and welcome to the do-over. The do-over in a couple of fashions. So, this mag, I believe, caused my M17 to malfunction, to jam, with modern combat sports kinetics yesterday due to a weak spring. I did some firing with the TIPX and it worked fine. What I did was I opened this mag up, took the factory spring out, and I installed a silver FSC magazine spring. I didn't jump right to the red because most of my reds are occupied. I got lots of silver, so I thought I'd try silver. Silver it is. I can see it nicely loaded in my hopper port here. Also, the barrel. I changed to the factory M17 barrel. By all accounts, this barrel does pretty good, and I know I've seen the results out there, and I think early on in my testing, there you go. The Lapco barrel that I used was a couple of feet per second faster. And, well, if you're chasing that goal, you know, maybe that's something you want to do. But for many of you guys, the factory barrel's probably adequate. And what I wanted to prove to myself and to you guys was not comparing it to a Lapco, but comparing it to the Lion Claw I had yesterday. Those are added expenses that most aren't ready to jump into. So that Lion Claw barrel yesterday was about a ½ inch longer than this factory barrel, and it was shooting 29, 30 joules with these red kinetics at 750 PSI output, version 1 bypass. I just filled the bottle up. She's brand spanking refilled. So this is the same bottle as yesterday, obviously. I thread this guy in there. We will check if these rounds will cycle better in this mag now, and whether the factory barrel can keep up with that Lion Claw. And then I got some other stuff to toss in there too, so don't go away just yet. All right, we're looking for 30. Oh, before I get going, obviously that video yesterday, I don't get to see the numbers, and I should just keep my other tablet out here so I could enter the feet per second. It was like 450 feet per second, which was right on par with the 9.9 gram rye balls that I was shooting at 256. So they were, for all accounts, the energy leaving the muzzle was equal. Now the energy downstream, that's to be debated. At such a close range, I don't think it's that big a deal. If you're shooting over a longer range, I think I would probably choose the heavier projectile, but yeah, that's not what this one's about. So we want to see 450 with this factory barrel. .454. I believe that was a number from yesterday. .444. That's lucky. .442. The lowest yesterday on that 7-inch Lion Claw was .440. Speak of the devil, there's a .440. .444, pretty consistent. I think you could argue that the factory barrel performs probably as good as the Lion Claw, and I'm not going to test my Lapco here, but because it can't accept these projectiles. But if you're trying to save a buck, just rock the factory barrel. Oh, and that was the last one, of course. I believe it was. One left. Let me load up another magazine, and we will do pretty much as fast as I'm comfortable pulling the trigger. When I say rapid fire, guys, I do have to be a little bit cautious. I got a window here, and yeah, you know the drill. I'd love to be shooting out in the backyard while there's still some snow out there, and I'm really hoping this summer. I'm just gonna tell the neighbors to go pound sand, and hopefully they don't call the cops. Fresh mag of 8 loaded up. It can shoot 7 with this magwell. Okay. 7 rounds. As fast as I can pull the trigger. I know you guys want to see full auto, but I got my full auto locked out. Huh. Pretty good. I heard a car door slamming out there. And I probably wonder what's going on here. Fired them all. The weird thing is, guys, it picked up that last round. I can't even explain that. Yeah. I don't know, maybe the air pressure kicked it up into the breech. That is very strange. There was definitely 8 in there, and I shot 8. I know this magazine always leaves one behind, this mag well, sorry. Really got no explanation for that, whether, like I said, maybe just the air pressure bouncing those down and the last one popped up, because by my accounts it's probably about as fast as I can shoot without ducking for cover in the garage. 8 more, loaded up. And this is a surprise. CO2. It's 1 degree warmer in here today. It's 18 degrees. But I've been laying on this CO2 like Mother Goose, trying to keep it warm. It's in my pocket. This is the external rag that I had previously set up on this marker, not with this barrel. I was using the Lapco barrel. It is unchanged from when you last saw it. It was shooting, I think, 42 joules on a 9.9 gram riot ball. So I'm very curious, untouched, how it will behave with these 3.2 grams. Again, it's not a 1-for-1, but it's really for my curiosity's sake. 16 gram. I want to try something else once I fire this off, is I want to remove the adapter out of here and thread this bottle into here and just see how the marker behaves and what kind of cut it takes in power. Because DK did a very interesting video with his VKS, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago, when me and him were kind of going back and forth with our little CO2 experiment there. And where he had cut his regulator down to, so he reduced his regulator down when using CO2 to keep a reasonable level. It was like between 40 and 60 joules. So I'll just throw that number out there. But the funny thing is that when he actually put HBA in to the marker with that regulator setting, the power was way down. It was like he was shooting like 300 feet per second. So it was a huge drop, which demonstrates, kind of the volatileness of CO2 as it's expanding. So I want to see it for myself here, because I thought that was a very, very interesting show that he did there. So we'll puncture this. And let's see what it does. 446. So it's pretty much on par with that bottle, which is interesting. So it's not. So with this 16 gram and 9.9 grams in this regulator setting, I was hitting 41, 42, I think it was. So clearly I'm not hitting the same with these light projectiles, which is not exactly what I wanted to see, but it lead me down a different road. Maybe this regulator can be turned up more with the lighter projectiles. I don't want to waste any CO2 on this. I want to see if I'm shorting myself on shots here. That was the last one. So the last one is getting picked up, which is weird. So it wasn't a jam, but when I released my mag, this one it was up in the breech, which has me very confused at this point. Another mag, same CO2. Oh, 400. $348. Sounds like it's falling now. Oh yeah. 284. It's got one more, but those 284, the 3.2. It's not really usable in my opinion. Interesting, right? So these lighter rounds, well, now I probably should put some 9.9 grams through because it isn't the same barrel, but for some reason I don't. Okay, let's go get some 9.9s and another 16 gram. Okay, so I have a problem here. I have 9.9 grams loaded up, but this FSC spring that I have in here is too strong. It is overcoming the catch in the magazine. So if I let this off, they're gonna shoot everywhere prematurely. So I'm gonna carefully try and put them into the marker. And hopefully I can do this without them going everywhere. Oh man, this is tricky. I don't think I can. These balls are too slippery. Okay. Let's try this. Nope. It ain't gonna happen, guys. That's a problem. Shaped rounds aren't, because this thing has a very nice hook on it that actually catches the skirt. Let's try the TIPX mag. Maybe I'll have better luck. Okay, well the same 8 that were in the other ones are in here now. Brand new 16 gram. Previously on the Lapco barrel, this was getting 41, 42 joules. Let's see, is it the balls, is it projectiles, is it the temperature? And 42, geez, I wish I knew what number that was. $286, but you'll know. $290. 292. 284. 268. That is just below 30 joules. Oh, there's still one left. 238. Interesting. As always, something new is discovered. The heavy balls definitely performed much better with the CO2 than the lighter FSRs. But not with HPA, which is weird. But I think that plays a part. The heavier ball takes longer to get down that barrel because it has more inertia to get moving, or more mass to get moving. Gives that CO2 a chance to continue to expand. Removing the adapter. Keeping the regulator in place. I'm going to put this bottle in the back. Charge it. Red FSR through the regulator, 750 PSI bottle. So this bottle, straight through the marker, was doing 450, 454, 440, 30 joules essentially. So, what do you think it's gonna do through the reg? I'm gonna guess it's gonna be lower. It has to be lower. $400. $400. Whew. 400. This reg does work very well, apparently, though. Oh, 400. Freaking amazing. Huh. One more. That was the last one. I'm floored. I'm floored by that. That thing, wow. So that's the reason I can do so well on CO2. I always suspected this thing was doing a very good job of regulating that CO2, and that proves it right there. It did cut the power, but obviously this reg can be adjusted up. How I will use that information, I don't know yet. But the takeaway from this video, the factory barrel does very well. Red FSRs did really well with the new FSC spring. Didn't do so well on CO2. But on HPA, they went 1 for 1 with the 9.9s. But when I switched to the CO2, those red FSRs underperformed big time. My opinion, plus 5 joules. If there's a difference of greater than 5 joules, it's a difference worth choosing that higher number. And those 9.9s with CO2 outperformed the reds hands down. Again, this goes back to the weight of the projectile. The white ones, the 9.9s, are heavier. They have a larger mass. they start moving more slowly through your barrel, and that liquid CO2 has a chance to continue to expand and speed that projectile up. The red ones, they're light, they're gone, like out of here, long before any excess liquid has a chance to expand and increase the velocity. Moving forward, if I'm going to use CO2 on this setup, I'm probably going to choose the heavier projectile. I mean, why wouldn't you? It shoots harder. Now, it didn't shoot as hard with the 7-inch Lion Claw or the 684. Arguably, those 9.9 grams, they were 4 joules lower with this factory barrel. Is it the barrel? Is it the temperature? Well, that's a whole other video, but it did show back to back with those red FSRs that, well, the red FSRs just don't like CO2. Would that change with a longer barrel? Well, I didn't even know where to start. I mean, these videos could go on and on and on, but I promise this is the end.